to live without the need for a rival. While the earlier works focused on how to shift your identity and reclaim your creative power, this one invites you to dissolve the edges altogether. It is about what remains when you stop defining yourself by what you want to achieve and begin to live from the recognition that there is no finish line, that expansion is your natural state. The ideas in these pages build upon everything that came before them, yet they also stand on their own. You do not need to have read my previous books to understand this one, but if you have, you will recognize the evolution. The voice is the same, but the vantage point is wider. If assume, become, repeat was about awakening to your power and you are the cause, was about claiming it, then No Limits Ahead is about learning to live peacefully inside it. It is about moving beyond effort into flow, beyond belief into knowing, and beyond self-improvement into self-realization. Every chapter is a reminder that growth is not an achievement, but a rhythm, a movement between awareness and expression that never ends. This book is an invitation to live in that rhythm, to meet life without fear of its unfolding, and to remember that the journey has always been infinite. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Limits. Every limitation you have ever known began as a belief, not as a fact, not as an immovable truth, but as an idea accepted long enough to harden into what seemed real. From the moment you entered this world, you were taught boundaries. What was possible, what was not. Who you could be, what you could have, what you should fear. These invisible teachings became your silent architecture. They built the walls around your imagination and called it reality. But reality is pliable. It bends to the vision of the one who sees beyond its surface. Limits are not found in the world. They are found in the mind that interprets it. Every condition you face is a mirror reflecting what you have assumed to be true. And yet, what few realize is that mirrors can change. You are never trapped by what you see, only by what you continue to believe about what you see. If you could strip away the conditioning, the history, and the voices that taught you what to expect from life, you would meet a truth so vast it would frighten the small self that learned to survive by staying small. You would discover that the power that shapes galaxies also shapes the pattern of your days. You have mistaken repetition for law. Just because something has always been a certain way does not mean it must remain that way. Habit is not destiny. Familiarity is not fact. The moment you accept that truth, the moment you even entertain the possibility that you are greater than the story you have lived, the illusion begins to crack. What you call a limit is only a threshold. It exists to be crossed. Every time you meet resistance, you're standing at the doorway of a greater version of yourself. The discomfort you feel is not punishment. It is expansion pressing against the walls of your belief. The invitation is not to fight your limits, but to see through them, to look at every obstacle as a projection of thought, a reflection of who you have assumed yourself to be. The instant you change that assumption, the reflection must change. The world will tell you to push harder to earn your freedom through effort, but true transformation does not begin in action. It begins in perception. It begins the moment you realize that the world outside you is simply your inner world written in visible form. You are not here to battle your limits. You are here to recognize that there never were any. You have been living inside a picture painted by your old beliefs, and the brush has been in your hand all along. The moment you remember that, you stop being the character in the painting and become the artist again. Pause now. Look around you. Everything you see is an echo of what you once believed possible, and everything that is yet to come depends on what you will choose to believe next. The illusion of limits dissolves the instant you decide to see differently. Chapter 2. Beyond the Known. What you call the known is only a memory of what has already been accepted. It is the residue of past states, the echo of thoughts that once carried your attention long enough to take form. Most people live inside that echo, repeating yesterday's conclusions and wondering why tomorrow looks the same. They do not realize that the known world is nothing more than a reflection of familiar belief. It feels safe. It feels predictable. But it is also a cage. The mind craves certainty. It wants to define, measure, and label every experience so it can feel in control. But certainty is the enemy of creation. When you are certain, you stop seeing. You stop listening. You begin to defend the very boundaries that once kept you small. To step beyond the known is not to abandon reason. It is to expand it. It is to let intuition speak where logic has gone silent. It is to open the door between what is visible and what is possible, and to realize that the two were never separate to begin with. The unknown is not darkness. It is potential, waiting for recognition. It is the raw field from which all creation emerges. What you call the unknown is simply the part of yourself you have not yet remembered. You have been trained to fear uncertainty, to avoid what you cannot predict. But uncertainty is sacred. It is the birthplace of every miracle that has ever entered your life. When you learn to stand calmly in that space, not asking how or when, but simply trusting that life responds to your inner conviction, you begin to taste true freedom. Every discovery in history began as a single moment of faith in the unseen. Every new invention, every great love, every personal breakthrough began in that same place. The edge where comfort ends and imagination begins. That edge is the doorway to expansion, and it never closes. Do not seek to escape the unknown. Seek to dwell within it consciously. Feel it as a living space rather than an absence. The mind may call it chaos, but the heart knows it as creation. When you can rest in that awareness, the unknown reveals itself as guidance rather than threat. Your next chapter in life cannot be found in what you already know. It will not appear in the familiar. It waits for you in the silence of possibility, in the stillness beyond thought, in the faith that dares to feel what has not yet appeared. You are not meant to repeat. You are meant to reveal. And what you reveal is determined by how willing you are to step beyond what has already been proven. The unknown does not ask for proof. It asks for participation. When you meet it with confidence, when you choose to believe before seeing, it opens its gates. It begins to mirror your certainty back to you in ways that seem miraculous to those who still cling to the old map. Everything you are seeking already exists beyond the known. All that is required is the courage to walk where logic ends and creation begins. The door is open now. Step through. Chapter 3. The Infinite Path. There is a path that does not begin and cannot end. It does not stretch outward like a road. It unfolds inward like a remembering. The infinite path is not something you travel through space. It is something you awaken to within yourself. Every soul walks this path, whether knowingly or not. Some move through it by accident, drawn forward by the quiet pull of curiosity. Others step upon it deliberately, knowing that what they seek is not a destination, but an unveiling. The infinite path is not a straight line. It is a spiral that carries you deeper into the essence of who you are. Each turn of that spiral reveals a new layer of perception, a new way of seeing what has always been true. What you call progress is not movement towards something greater. It is recognition of what has always been present. To walk this path is to learn that life does not repeat. It refines. The same experiences return, not to punish you, but to invite you into higher understanding. What once felt like a cycle of struggle becomes, in time, a rhythm of growth. Every lesson that appears before you is part of that rhythm. Every challenge is an initiation. Nothing is wasted, not even what once seemed meaningless or unfair. Each moment has been preparing you to see more clearly, to feel more deeply, to love more completely. The infinite path has no signposts, no finish line, and no map. It asks only one thing, that you stay awake as you walk. It asks that you notice what you believe, what you assume, what you call possible, and what you quietly declare to be true. Because as you walk, the ground forms beneath your feet. You are not following a path that has been laid out before you. You are creating it by the light of your own awareness. Every step you take reveals the next. Every insight unfolds a new horizon. The more conscious you become, the more the path expands, as if reality itself were responding to your gaze. When you stop judging the distance, you begin to understand that there is no arrival. There is only unfolding. There is only the eternal expansion of the self into greater awareness. Many grow tired because they keep asking when they will arrive, when they will be complete, when they will finally reach peace. But peace is not waiting at the end. It is found in the realization that there is no end at all. The infinite path is the movement of life itself, forever growing, forever revealing, forever expressing the same truth through new forms. It does not belong to time. It belongs to eternity. When you stop measuring your progress and begin to see life as an unending expression of consciousness, something shifts. You stop rushing. You stop searching for the peak, and instead begin to feel the depth. The infinite path does not promise certainty. It promises revelation. It promises that as long as you are willing to look inward, you will continue to meet new versions of yourself that you have never known, yet somehow have always been. Do not look for the end of the path. Look for the light that keeps revealing it. That light is within you, and it has never stopped shining. The path does not end because you are the path itself. Chapter 4. Journey without end. To live upon the infinite path is to realize that you are not traveling towards something. You are traveling as something. The journey itself is your becoming. Every breath, every moment of awareness, every quiet recognition is another step into the vastness that is you. You may think of the journey as a movement from one state to another, from limitation to freedom, from confusion to clarity. But in truth, there is only the deepening of awareness. The journey does not move you from here to there. It moves you from forgetting to remembering. There is no final arrival because arrival belongs to the world of time. In the timeless, you are always arriving and always beginning. The horizon that once seemed distant folds inward the moment that you reach it, revealing another and another still. This is the endless generosity of existence. It never stops offering itself to you. To walk the journey without end is to fall in love with discovery. It is to welcome the unfolding of yourself through every experience, even the ones that seem to slow your progress. What you call obstacles are simply mirrors that help you see what still sleeps within you. They are invitations to awaken, not barriers to your growth. When you stop racing, you begin to see that there is no competition in consciousness. Life is not asking you to win, it is asking you to awaken. Every person you meet is walking beside you, each on their own version of this endless journey. Some are ahead in certain ways, others are behind. But the circle always closes, and all paths return to the same awareness. The wise do not hurry. They understand that time cannot withhold what is already theirs in spirit. They move gently, confidently, knowing that what belongs to them cannot be lost. The soul does not rush. It reveals. You will find, as you continue this journey, that what once appeared to be forward motion was never motion at all. It was expansion. You were never moving through space. You were deepening in awareness. The more you recognize your unity with everything around you, the more your steps become effortless. The end of striving is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of true motion. When you release the need to arrive, life begins to carry you. The current that once felt like resistance begins to flow with you. You no longer fight against what is. You cooperate with it. To live in this awareness is to know peace, not the still peace of inactivity, but the vibrant peace of participation. You begin to see that everything you experienced, it is working in your favor. Every encounter, every silence, every delay, each has been placed perfectly to shape your unfolding. The journey without end does not promise comfort, but it does promise meaning. It promises that nothing is wasted, and that every path leads you back to the same truth. There is no outside to who you are. There is no distance between you and what you seek. There is only awareness expanding into itself forever. You cannot fail on this journey. You can only forget that you are walking it. And when you remember again, you realize that you never truly stopped. Chapter 5, Beyond the Horizon. What you see is not all there is. What appears before you is the residue of what has already been imagined, the reflection of what has already been accepted as true within. The visible world is a finished picture. The brush that paints new horizons is within your mind. To look beyond the horizon is to look beyond evidence. It is to understand that what is seen only repeats what has been believed. The real horizon is not in the distance. It is within consciousness. And the moment you begin to imagine differently, the boundary between the visible and the invisible begins to shift. Imagination is not an idle dream. It is the creative pulse of the universe moving through you. It is not fantasy. It is foundation. Everything that has ever been built in this world was first seen by someone who dared to look beyond what was visible. Every new world begins in the unseen. You may think that reality is solid and fixed, but it is obedient. It moves at the command of what you accept as true. The outer is only the echo of the inner, and what you call change is simply the world rearranging itself to reflect a new conviction. To live beyond the horizon is to live from that unseen reality, to hold the feeling of the end before the beginning appears. It is to know that you are not waiting for what you desire. You are summoning it by being it. When you imagine a scene and feel it as real, you are not pretending. You are planting a living seed in the soil of consciousness. Every feeling is a command. Every conviction shapes the unseen substance that later takes form. What you sustain within must eventually appear without. The secret is not in effort, it is in assumption. It is not in wishing, but in knowing. It is not in trying to make something happen, but in resting in the awareness that it already has. The law is simple. You become what you accept. When you close your eyes and see what you long for as though that it were already yours, you have stepped beyond the horizon of the senses. You have entered the realm of causation, the place where creation begins. The world may not yet know it, but the pattern has been set. Do not seek proof. Proof is the slowest language of the universe. It will come, but only after belief has spoken. The wise do not wait for the outer to change before feeling fulfilled. They feel fulfilled, and the outer must obey. Every moment of doubt, every moment of fear, is a small return to the old horizon. Do not condemn yourself for it. Simply notice it and turn inward again. You do not need to fight with the old vision. You only need to outgrow it. When the new assumption feels more natural than the old, the shift is complete. The horizon moves for the one who believes. And belief is not strain. It is quiet ownership. Stand within your own conviction as though it were the most natural thing in the world, because in truth, it is. You were never meant to wait for miracles. You were meant to realize that you are the source from which they appear. The horizon is not far. It is where your next thought begins. Chapter 6, The Ever-Unfolding Self. Creation is not something that happens once. It is continuous, like breath, like light, like the quiet rhythm of the tide returning to the shore. You are not a completed being. You are a revelation in motion. Each moment of awareness opens a new layer of self. You think you have reached the limit of understanding. Yet the instant you rest there, life reveals another horizon within you. This unfolding is not random, it is guided by your attention. Wherever your awareness dwells, that aspect of you begins to blossom. Most people look for growth outside themselves. They seek knowledge, achievement, recognition, all the while overlooking the truth that what they chase is simply an unrecognized facet of their own nature. The treasures of life are hidden within, waiting for the gaze that will finally acknowledge them. The self is infinite in scope, yet reveals itself only to the degree that it is believed in. Every new assumption about who you are is a door opening into a higher room of consciousness. You walk through these doors, not with effort, but with recognition. When you accept a greater truth about yourself, you step into it. You cannot unfold by condemning what you were. The old self is not an enemy. It is a layer that once served its purpose. The same life that breathed through that identity breathes through the new one now. The unfolding is gentle when you bless what is passing and welcome what is coming. Neville Goddard taught that creation is finished, that every state already exists in consciousness. What you call becoming is simply awareness moving through these pre-existing states, claiming one and releasing another. The self does not grow by adding. It grows by unveiling what has always been. There is nothing to earn, nothing to prove, nothing to reach. There is only recognition. You are not moving toward your higher self. You are remembering that you have never been anything else. To live in this realization is to feel peace without stagnation, movement without strain. You begin to understand that the self is both the seed and the bloom. The beginning and the fulfillment coexist in you. Every desire that rises within you is not a sign of lack. It is a sign of readiness. It is life announcing that another layer of you is prepared to unfold. Do not resist it, and do not rush it. Let it open in its own rhythm. What is yours cannot miss you, because it is you. The ever-unfolding self is not searching for meaning. It is the meaning. It is the awareness that life is not something happening to you. It is something happening through you, for you, and as you. Rest in that knowing, and you will feel the quiet movement of eternity within your own breath. The unfolding never ends, because consciousness never stops revealing itself. Chapter 7, Boundless Self. There is no border around who you are. The boundaries you perceive are the limits of imagination, not the limits of being. You have accepted a name, a form, a story, and called it you. But that is only the surface. Beneath the surface lives the boundless self, the awareness that existed before you were called anything at all. To know yourself as boundless is not to reject the human experience. It is to see it as a single wave upon an infinite sea. The wave rises, it expresses, it dissolves, yet the sea remains whole. You have never been the wave alone. You have always been the ocean expressing itself as form. When you quiet the noise of identity, you begin to feel that vastness. It does not shout. It does not strive. It simply is. It is the same life that beats your heart, the same intelligence that moves the stars. It is closer than thought, nearer than breath. All suffering comes from forgetting this. You suffer when you confine yourself to a single role, when you believe you are only what the world can name. But names cannot hold what you are. Words cannot measure you. The truth of your being cannot be contained within definition. The boundless self does not compete. It creates. It does not chase. It allows. It does not fear the unknown because it knows itself as the source from which all knowing arises. To live as the boundless self is to remember that everything you seek is already an extension of your own consciousness. What you admire in others, what you desire in life, what you call divine, all of it lives within you, waiting to be claimed through awareness. You are not here to become more. You are here to realize that you are already whole. that you have always been infinite in essence. Every limitation dissolves the moment you stop agreeing with it. Every wall becomes transparent the moment you decide to see through it. When you begin to live from this truth, life bends differently. Doors open not because they were locked, but because you stopped believing you needed permission to walk through. Circumstances rearrange themselves, not because the outer world changes first, but because you have changed within. The boundless self moves with quiet certainty. It does not ask for proof, it knows. It does not seek validation, it creates meaning through its own being. It walks with grace because it remembers that every step is made on sacred ground. This awareness cannot be earned or taught. It can only be remembered. Sit in stillness and feel the life that watches you breathe. That is you, the one who observes, the one who imagines, the one who creates. You are not a person reaching for divinity. You are divinity remembering itself as a person. Chapter 8, Limitless Awareness. Awareness is the foundation of everything you know. It is the silent witness before thought, the presence that notices each sound, each sensation, each passing feeling. You have known this awareness since before memory began, yet you rarely stop to meet it directly. Most live within the movement of thought, believing the motion itself to be the mind. But behind every thought is the stillness that observes. That stillness is your essence. It is not bound by time or name. It simply knows. When you turn toward it, even for a moment, the noise of the world softens, and the vastness within begins to open. Awareness has no edges. It cannot be measured or confined. It does not come and go. It only appears to shift when attention moves between the inner and the outer. Everything you experience arises in that same boundless field. Every sound, every image, every moment of joy or uncertainty. To live as awareness is to recognize that all of life is unfolding inside you. The world that seems distant and solid is experienced only through perception. You are the perceiver. You give shape to everything you witness by the way you see it. The great secret is that awareness is not passive. It contains the creative power that brings form into existence. The image you hold steadily within begins to express itself outwardly. You are never separate from what you observe. You are always participating in its formation. When this realization settles into you, life becomes gentle. You begin to sense the unity behind all appearances. The distinctions that once created conflict start to fade. You understand that the same awareness looking through your eyes is the same awareness looking through every other. This is what it means to awaken. Not to gain something new, but to notice what has always been true. You are awareness knowing itself through experience. Every moment is an opportunity to remember that. As this understanding deepens, the need to control fades. You no longer try to force outcomes. You rest in knowing that awareness is intelligent, and it unfolds each experience in perfect timing. You move from reaction to response, from resistance to quiet cooperation with the rhythm of existence. The mind will still think, the body will still act, the world will still move, but all of it will happen within a deeper calm. The vastness that you are remains untouched, observing, embracing, expressing itself through countless forms, and yet never losing its center. This is the essence of limitless awareness. It cannot be broken or diminished. It is the silent presence that existed before your first breath and will remain long after your final one. When you remember this, peace is no longer something to seek. It becomes the atmosphere in which you live. Chapter 9, Beyond Identity. Everything you experience begins with who you believe yourself to be. The outer world listens quietly to that belief and shapes itself around it. Identity is the root of creation, the silent agreement that determines what can and cannot enter your experience. You may call it fate, luck, or divine order, but behind all appearances, it is your sense of self that directs the pattern. The way you see yourself is the script life follows. When you long for change, What you are truly longing for is a new identity. Every desire carries within it the image of who you must become to experience it. The moment you accept that version of yourself inwardly, the outer world begins its rearrangement. There is no need to force conditions. Life does not yield to effort. It yields to conviction. When you are inwardly convinced that something is already yours, the need to chase it disappears. That inner calm is the signal that a new state has taken hold. To move beyond identity is to recognize that the self you defend so fiercely is only a pattern of memory. You are not bound by who you have been. Identity is fluid, shaped by belief, renewed by imagination. The self you present to the world is a reflection, not the source. Begin by observing your reactions. Each one reveals who you think you are. When you feel limited, notice the identity that produces that feeling. Do not argue with it or condemn it. Simply turn inward and imagine from a higher sense of self. Picture yourself already living from the version of you that has moved beyond that limit. Feel it as though it were now. Let your imagination become a living atmosphere. The mind may call it pretense, but your deeper awareness knows it as truth. You are not making something up. You are remembering what is already possible. As this new identity becomes familiar, the outer world will quietly conform. People will play their parts. Doors will open. Timing will align. Because life always obeys the one who knows who they are. The shift is subtle. It does not happen through effort or will, but through inner agreement. When you stop arguing for your limitations, you stop sustaining them. The identity you hold dissolves when you withdraw attention from it. And what remains is freedom. Freedom to be new. Freedom to let the next version of yourself emerge without apology. There is no finish line to this unfolding. The self continues to expand, layer after layer, revealing greater possibilities each time you choose to see yourself differently. Your reality is not built by what you wish for. It is built by what you are willing to believe about yourself. Choose carefully, for whatever identity you inhabit, the world will echo it without question. Chapter 10, I, Infinite. There is a point within you that never changes. It does not grow old. It does not fear. It does not wait. It observes the rise and fall of every thought, every emotion, every experience, and remains untouched. That still center is who you truly are. Everything else is movement around it. When you begin to notice this presence, you feel a quiet power that is neither loud nor aggressive. It does not strive to be seen. It simply knows. It recognizes that all things move within it. And because of that, nothing is ever truly outside of it. Most people live unaware of this presence. They identify only with the forms that pass across its surface. Their name, their past, their successes, their mistakes. They chase validation because they have forgotten that the source of life is already within them. But the moment you turn inward and rest in that still awareness, you begin to feel the infinite nature of your being. Infinity is not a concept of distance. It is the realization that there is no boundary between you and what you call the world. The same intelligence that moves through the sky moves through your breath. The same creative force that holds the stars in place is what gives your imagination power. You are not apart from it. You are it in expression. When you truly understand this, the idea of separation begins to dissolve. You stop asking how to connect with your desires, because you see that they are already part of you. Every longing is the infinite calling itself into form. Every vision is the eternal, expanding through you. To live from this understanding is to feel a quiet certainty. You stop chasing results because you see that creation is not happening outside of you. It unfolds from within, shaped by your awareness of being. When you hold an image with conviction, the infinite moves to express it. When you waver, it waits. The power is never absent. It simply responds to the clarity of your focus. You are the awareness in which all conditions appear. When you identify with the condition, you feel limited. When you identify with the awareness itself, you feel free. Freedom is not found in changing circumstances. It is found in remembering that you are larger than them. Sit with this truth for a moment. Feel the space behind your thoughts, the silence between your breaths. That silence is you. It is the same presence that has been watching since the beginning. It was there before your first memory, and it will remain after every story fades. The more you rest in that recognition, the more your life begins to mirror it. Fear loses its grip. Effort turns to ease. Creation becomes natural again. The outer world starts to behave as if it knows who you are, because in the truth, it does. You are not a fragment trying to become whole. You are the infinite expressing itself in form. The only journey is the remembering. And each moment you remember, the world expands to meet you there. Chapter 11. Infinity Within. Close your eyes for a moment and turn your attention inward. What do you find when you no longer search through thought? What remains when there is nothing left to analyze, define, or name? What remains is awareness, but awareness is not empty. It is alive, filled with a quiet intelligence that anticipates what you need before you can ask for it. It listens before you speak. It moves before you decide. Infinity does not exist in the stars above or in the distance beyond the horizon. Infinity exists here, within the field of your own being. You are standing inside the same creative intelligence that shaped all worlds. It is not somewhere else waiting for you to reach it. It has always been present, hidden behind your assumptions of limitation. When you begin to sense this living depth within yourself, a subtle shift takes place. You stop measuring your worth by what you achieve and start feeling the richness of what you are. You begin to understand that manifestation is not about acquiring things. It is about awakening to the completeness already woven into your existence. The finite mind searches for results, while infinite awareness rests in knowing. The difference between the two is simple. One tries to control, the other allows what is natural to rise to the surface. You do not force a flower to open. You create the right conditions, and it unfolds on its own. Conscious creation is the same. Each desire you have ever held has come from this infinite intelligence within you. It is life's way of calling you to express another aspect of itself. When you resist, you experience tension. When you trust, you feel flow. This is the current of creation. Invisible, responsive, always aware of where you are and what you are ready to embody. The infinite within you does not operate through struggle. It responds to clarity. When you decide with calm certainty, the unseen begins to take shape around that decision. It may seem like coincidence or timing, but it is simply the order of consciousness revealing itself in form. To live this way is to stop thinking of the unseen as distant. The unseen is here, vibrating beneath what you call solid. When you hold an idea steadily with belief, the energy within you arranges itself to make that idea visible. Spend time each day in the quiet space beneath thought, not to force an outcome, but to remember your source. Feel that deep, calm presence that watches without judgment. That is where creation begins. The mind that knows its infinity no longer fears delay. It no longer begs or bargains. It simply expects, the way dawn expects the sun. Everything you have ever sought has been waiting for you in that stillness, not to be found, but to be recognized. And when you recognize it, the infinite within you begins to take shape in the world around you, as naturally as breath becomes wind. Chapter 12, The Universe. Within. When you look into the night sky, you see distance. You see points of light scattered across immeasurable space, and you call it vast. Yet the same vastness exists within you. The mystery you seek in the heavens is mirrored in the stillness of your own awareness. The outer universe is a reflection of the inner one. Every thought you think sends a signal into this unseen field. Every emotion you sustain shapes the texture of what returns to you. You are not a small being standing feelings you nurture. When you begin to grasp this, life becomes deeply personal. You start to understand that the universe is not something happening outside of you. It is happening through you. Every event that meets you is drawn by resonance. Every condition that stays is held by belief. The universe within you responds not to words, but to vibration. It listens to your dominant feeling, not your passing thoughts. You cannot fool this intelligence. You can only align with it. When your inner world and outer action move in harmony, you enter a state where what you imagine begins to take tangible form. The secret is attention. Whatever you continually return to in thought and emotion becomes magnetic. The universe within does not judge what you ask for. It simply amplifies what you focus upon. This is why inner discipline matters. You are shaping reality each moment through the quality of your awareness. Sit in silence and feel that you are surrounded by presence. This presence does not speak in language, yet it understands you perfectly. When you hold an image in your mind and feel gratitude as if it were already complete, that feeling becomes a command. The universe within begins to arrange itself around that instruction, quietly, effortlessly, precisely. There is no need to plead for what is already in motion. Creation answers certainty. It moves toward clarity. When you trust the inner process, the outer details take care of themselves. This is not philosophy. It is law. Each time you pause and remember your connection to the vast awareness inside you, the space between desire and fulfillment grows thinner. What once felt impossible begins to appear as natural. What once required effort begins to happen with ease. You are not asking the universe to give you anything. You are allowing the universe within you to express what it has always been capable of. Chapter 13. Beyond the mirror. Everything you see in life is a mirror. The people, the events, the opportunities, the delays, all reflect the state of consciousness you are currently inhabiting. The mirror never argues. It does not judge or interpret. It simply reflects what stands before it. The mistake most people make is trying to change the reflection instead of the image producing it. They struggle with the outer picture, rearranging circumstances, forcing outcomes, while the inner picture remains unchanged. The mirror can only repeat what is placed before it. If you want to alter what appears, you must begin within. To manifest something new, first withdraw your attention from what you dislike in the outer world. The mirror cannot show you peace while you are fixated on chaos. Find a quiet place and let the outer noise fade. Close your eyes and imagine standing before a clear, still surface. In that surface, see not who you have been, but who you are becoming. Do not look at this image as something separate from you. Feel that you are already that version of yourself. Let the emotion of completion rise naturally without strain. This feeling is the secret language of creation. When you sustain the feeling long enough, the reflection must change. Imagine the end, not the process. If you seek love, do not imagine the search for it. Imagine the warmth of being deeply loved. If you seek success, do not imagine the striving. Imagine the calm of fulfillment, the gratitude that comes after the desire is realized. See yourself living in that reality with ease. Your mind may protest. It will remind you of facts, of reasons why things cannot be different. That is the old image insisting on its survival. Do not fight it. Self. The mirror of life will soon adjust. Practice this daily, not with desperation, but with quiet assurance. Spend a few minutes before sleep imagining your world exactly as you wish it to be. Feel the inner satisfaction of knowing it is done. The state you fall asleep in is the seed you plant for tomorrow. You will notice small signs at first, subtle changes that confirm the shift. Someone will mention an opportunity. A chance meeting will occur. A problem will resolve itself without effort. Do not dismiss these moments. They are the reflection catching up to the image. Stay faithful to your inner vision until it feels natural. When you no longer need to convince yourself, manifestation has already begun. The outer world is slower than the inner, but it is exact. It will echo every feeling that becomes dominant within you. Beyond the mirror, there is no separation between cause and effect. There is only consciousness producing form. The moment you see this clearly, you no longer beg for change. You simply change the image, and the reflection follows. This is how reality bends, quietly, in response to the self you have chosen to reveal. The stars above are reminders, not destinations. They reflect the same creative light that burns quietly at the center of your being. When you look up and feel wonder, remember that the wonder is not outside of you. It is you, recognizing yourself. Chapter 14. Echoes of Self. Every thought you think, every emotion you nurture, every assumption you accept as true, sends an echo into the unseen. That echo does not disappear. It circles back. What you meet in the world is not coincidence. Life is always returning to you, the tone of your own being. When you understand this, you stop taking appearances personally. You begin to see them as messages rather than judgments. The outer world is an echo chamber of consciousness. It is not punishing or rewarding you. It is repeating the vibration you send out through your habitual inner dialogue and feeling. To change the echo, you must change the sound. This is the essence of manifestation. You do not chase results. You change the inner conversation that produces them. The echo cannot resist. It only reflects. It's the story you are telling yourself. Notice how you speak inwardly about your future, your relationships, your worth. The words may seem private, but the vibration they carry becomes the blueprint for what returns to you. If your inner tone is doubt, you will hear uncertainty in the world around you. If your tone is gratitude, you will find more to be thankful for. When you catch yourself speaking from lack or fear, do not scold yourself. Simply pause and begin again. Choose new words and speak them inwardly until they begin to feel real.